Yo, what is up guys? Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So some rumours, I would say, in regards to the next card in Saudi Arabia. Or not the next card, but the first card of 2025 on February the 22nd in Riyadh. If these rumours are correct, and they're being reported by our favourite Fat Dan Raphael, if these rumours are true, this is possibly the best card in several decades, going back to the days of Don King, like prime Don King, when he had the likes of Mike Tyson and Julio Cesar Chavez on the same cards. But let's run through this proposed card, rumoured card, for February the 22nd. And I'm not sure, I'm assuming this is the order from main event to downwards, basically. Apparently the main event is going to be Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Of course, Dubois causing an upset by beating Anthony Joshua, retaining that IBF heavyweight title. Of course, he's not the real heavyweight champion, Usyk is, but regardless, he's put on some good performances recently, and we was expecting an immediate rematch with Joshua, but Joshua's gone a different route, it seems, and the opponent seems to be Joseph Parker. No complaints with this title defense. Joe Parker has rebounded well since his loss to Joe Joyce a couple of years ago, most notably beating Deontay Wilder and Jang, two really good wins. And yeah, I think Parker is deserving of a world title shot. Stylistically, I actually do think he could give Dubois some trouble, particularly if he utilises movement. But I think at this stage, Dubois is coming off too much momentum, and he is obviously the favourite for this fight, but it's a decent title defence. Joey Parker is still a viable heavyweight. He's not washed or shot. He's still only 32, 33 years old, former heavyweight champion. Good title defense, in my opinion. Second fight, Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol 2. Say no more. Say no more. First time around, they fought in October. Razor thin decision for Artur Beterbiev. Many debated that decision. Some people felt Bivol won. Some people felt Beterbiev won. Some had it a draw. For me, it was a razor close fight. I had Beterbiev on second viewing just about winning. 7 rounds to 5. On initial viewing, I felt a draw was right. For me, it was a very close fight. For me, neither guy really dominated, but both guys had their moments. It was a super high level fight. One of the most technically astute fights I've seen in quite some time. And there needs to be a rematch. There was no definitive winner, as far as I'm concerned. Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol 2. The third fight on this card, and I'm assuming this would be at 154, Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. Again, say no more. All of these fights so far, by the way, are main event worthy. Ennis versus Ortiz. These two have been linked together now for quite some time. Ever since both guys started to garner hype 3 or 4 years ago. These guys' names have been interlinked since then. And it looks like we're very close to getting this fight. It is in negotiations, according to Eddie Hearn. Ennis versus Ortiz is a very good fight. It's one of those fights that I think about and I can't see a boring fight. Because both guys like to let their hands go. Both guys can get aggressive. Both guys throw in combination. Both guys have respectable power. Both guys coming off like a half-bad performance, you know. Ennis against Shakadzian and Ortiz against Boachuk. Both guys looked a little, flawed, to say the least. And both guys are going to go into this fight with that kind of anxiety, but also the desire to prove that they are who they say they are. You know, that being elite level fighters. Get these two guys in the ring, two prime guys, it's going to be a barn burner. You know, both guys, in my opinion, have leaky defenses. They make up for it with their offense. Ennis, I would say, is more athletically gifted. Ortiz is gifted with more power, as far as I'm concerned. Technically, they both have flaws, especially in regards to defense, like I said. But both guys have good attributes. I think this one should gel to be a really good fight, should it happen. And again, another main event worthy fight, as far as I'm concerned. You know, back in the day, I favoured Ortiz to beat Ennis, but these days I'm not so sure due to Ortiz's health issues outside the ring, his performance against Bowerchuk. I do doubt Ortiz a little more now, but regardless, it's a great fight. We then move on to the fourth fight. Hamza Shiras versus Carlos Adames for the WBC middleweight title. This is a bit of a step down fight, but still a good fight nonetheless. I would have rather have seen Hamza Shiras fight Janibek Alimkhanuly, who he is or was mandatory for. Instead, he's going for Carlos Adames, who is viewed as a weaker champion. Still, nonetheless, a step up for Hamza Shiras. Adames is a decent fighter. Okay power, he's pretty tough. Can fight on the inside, can box a little bit. He is outsized in this fight. Shiras obviously much taller, much longer, and you would imagine that Adames is going to have to get up close to work on Shiras. Stylistically, it's a relatively interesting fight, but I would expect Shiras to come through, but it is a step up. It is a step up on Hamza's previous competition, and I guess if he wins, it just makes the Janibek fight more appealing, right? It becomes a unification fight at that point in time, with Janibek holding 2 titles. Good fight though, decent fight. Again, would have rather have seen Janibek as the opponents, but that's a minor complaint if this card comes to fruition. And lastly, the fifth fight, we have Jang versus Ajit Cabel. Have to state the obvious, it appears that both of these guys ducked Martin Bakole. I would have rather have seen Bakole in with either Cabel or Jang on this card. That has to be said. It's a shame because, you know, Bakole put himself in the shop window. I would have thought he would have got one of these fights, but Bakole finds himself in a bit of a position of who needs him right now, right? Kind of like Hrgovic 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, Jang versus Cabel still is a good fight. Jang, much bigger man, southpaw, bigger power puncher than Cabel. On the outside, Jang is going to be dangerous, and as Cabel is closing that gap to get close, Jang is going to be dangerous because of a lead right hook. But if Cabel gets to the inside, he can work. He can work that body. He's an astute body puncher for a heavyweight, and he's got a gas tank. That's one thing about Jang that we're not convinced of is the gas tank. He's very economical with his work, and even then, he looks tired in fights, even when he's not working hard. So Cabel has a massive advantage in terms of work rate, but Jang has an advantage in terms of height, reach, size, and power, and he can counter, so Cabel's going to have to be careful coming in, but he does cover up well. He is defensively astute. I'm assuming if this fight were to happen, I'm assuming that Jang would be favourite, but the way I'm feeling right now stylistically, I kind of half fancy Cabel for this one, I'll be honest. But still, good fight. Good fight. Listen, if this fight card comes off, bro, this is crazy. I'm mainly concerned about the first 3 fights we mentioned. Dubois Parker, Beterbiev Bivol, and Ennis Ortiz. But, you know, if all of these fights come off, it's the best card in several decades. Best card in several decades. Best card since I've been watching boxing. You know, in my lifetime. So, yeah, listen. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, thumbs crossed, eyes crossed, nuts crossed, if you can do that this card happens. Because it seems too good to be true. So yeah, listen, I'm trying not to get too excited, but at the same time, the prospect of this card happening, I would pay for it, you know, and I'm stingy when it comes to pay-per-views, but I would pay for this card without a doubt. But anyway, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy, peace.